Today I'm going to play with something I've never tried cutting before. I usually like to collect my own stuff, but once in a while I get something that I can't pass up. And this is blue Mustang Jasper. I guess it comes from Oregon, right near Idaho actually. But I've never really cut any of these before or worked with them, and I know it can be tricky finding the right way to cut them, because you want to get as much of that picture as possible. So I try and kind of look at it in a two-dimensional direction to see what's going to give me the best pictures with the blue. Obviously, if I cut it like this so that this is the face, I'm going to probably run out of that brown pretty quick and just be, getting nothing but blue. So I think what I'm going to do is have that be the face angle. If we cut and it's not looking like it's working out, we may flip it 90 degrees and, try one of those angles, but we'll see what we get. I'm pretty excited to see how this thing turns out. All right, I got this thing mounted up, and it's slightly different than the face that I was going to go with, just because you're kind of at the mercy of what your clamp can hold. I've got another clamp on the way, but for now we make do with this. This actually does a pretty good job of holding them as long as you can get a good bite in the wood. So as long as you can get that in there tight, it does a pretty good job of holding. You always want to check and make sure it's in there solid. So this is just a little cheater trick, but I just have a little piece of plastic that I use a magnet on when I'm first trying to get the rock situated on where I want it to cut. It gives you a little better idea of where that line's gonna fall as you move the rock in and out. It's not 100% accurate, but it's just, for me, I use it to eyeball where that blade's gonna hit. Well, the saw stopped, so I can't wait to see what we got. Get that lock in, and survey says, okay, that has some really cool designs in there. I want to see what the other side of this slab looks like here. And oh, we got a bit of a crack through the middle, which is a bit of a bummer. I'm hoping that's just a small little seam, but let's cut another one and see what the rest of it looks like. 10 turns gives me a slab that is approximately that width. I would guess that's maybe about a 1/4 inch. Neat little trick after you cut. If you are using oil in your machine, you can soak them in your kitty litter, and then after they're dry, it's easy to scrub them or run them through an ultrasonic cleaner or something. So just a neat little trick. All right, so we're all lined up, ready to go. Let's do another cut. And another little fun trick, if you have one of these saws, I just tied a little piece of fishing string to the front of that so I could pop it off easier. And I think we're good to go. Switched on and start. Okay, so the picture I was getting was okay. It was pretty cool. I mean, I don't hate it, but not getting a lot of that kind of sand dune, mountainy looking patterns that I was hoping for. So I've flipped it 90 degrees, and we're going to cut it head on this direction. And I'm hoping that will provide us something a little better. These aren't the worst pieces out there, but it's not generally what you're looking for with picture jasper. And with that crack, I don't know. So gonna flip it, try cutting it this way instead, and see what we get. So I'm gonna reset the depth on here, and we'll just cut it all up and come back when it's done, unless I change something. All right, we're all done cutting up this blue Mustang picture jasper, and colors are gorgeous, but I tried numerous times to flip it, to get different angles and whatnot, and capture kind of that traditional picture jasper look with kind of a countryside and mountains and whatnot. And I got a couple that looked pretty good. I may be able to find some kind of pattern in there that gives me the mountainscape and hills or something like, you know, and sky, something like that. But for the most part, no matter how I flipped it, I got the flat. It's pretty much flatlands, which, you know, it's not an ugly rock by any means. I mean, I think it's still a beautiful rock. It just didn't have that traditional look that people really like with their picture jasper. But the blues are just awesome. You know, the browns and everything. It's got some really cool colors. It does have some cracks in it that have weakened it. It will break on that spot. But some cool stuff, but not some spectacular stuff that I was hoping for. But I'm not mad. I'm still going to have some fun playing with these pieces and see what happens. Might throw a couple in the tumbler, might try and polish a couple on the cabbing machine. But yeah, all in all, I give this one about maybe a B minus, C plus, somewhere around there. So it's been a minute since I first cut this up, and I've had time to mess around with this rock a little bit. And I took one of these pieces and put it on my cabbing machine, and I really couldn't be happier with the way this thing turned out. It's one of the reasons that I really love jasper. It's such a awesome rock to polish up since it's just so hard. You know, when you see it raw right after a cut, it's not a whole lot to look at. You get it wet and you can kind of see the colors, but once you get it shined up and polished up, I mean, there are very few rocks out there that I've played around with that shine up as good as jasper does. So good times all around. I appreciate you watching this. If you want to try and save 10% on any of the equipment that you've seen me use, you can check the links in the descriptions. I get a little bit of a kickback, but you get a lot of good gear for a better price than you would have gotten it before. So it really helps out. And thanks again for watching. I hope you'll join me for another one of these next time.